Party General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng, President Nguyễn Xuân Phúc, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính, and National Assembly Chairman Vương Đình Huệ on December 2nd cabled messages of condolences to Chinese leaders over the death of former General Secretary of the Communist Party of China's Central Committee and former President of China, Jiang Zemin.
In the letter sent to top Chinese leaders and the family of the deceased, they affirmed that Jiang was an eminent leader of the Chinese party and state who was dedicated to the cause of revolution and constructions of socialism with Chinese characteristics. He also made important contributions to the normalization and development of Vietnam-China ties. The party, state, and people of Vietnam always appreciate and remember the great contributions of Jiang to the ties between the two parties and countries, they wrote. They also sent wreaths to the Chinese embassy in Vietnam in commemoration of his death. On the same day, the delegation of the Vietnamese Party, State Government, National Assembly, Vietnam Fatherland Front, led by President Nguyễn Xuân Phúc, together with Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính and permanent member of the party's Central Committee Secretariat, Võ Văn Thưởng, among others, paid tribute to the late leader and wrote in a condolence book at the Chinese embassy in Vietnam.
Party General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng on December 2nd chaired a Politburo meeting on a project to review the 10-year implementation of a resolution on the orientations and tasks for the development of Ho Chi Minh City until 2020 and 2030, with a vision to 2050.
Members of the Politburo hailed achievements that the city has gained in socio-economic development, as well as defense and security safeguarding. Also pointed out shortcomings that Ho Chi Minh City is facing, including slow improvement of its investment environment, low international competitiveness, and a per capita income below the set target. The Politburo members asked the city to make greater efforts to continue effectively implement the resolution. They underlined the necessity for the city to focus more on party building, decentralization, and delegation of power, and continue to implement pilot special policies for its development. Resolution number 16 of the Politburo was issued with an aim to turn Ho Chi Minh City into a modern service industrial city, a driving force for the country's digital economy and digital society. It also aims at making the city become an economic, financial, trade sense, technology, and cultural center of Southeast Asia, with deep and extensive international integration by 2030.
Chairman of the National Assembly, Vương Đình Huệ, had a number of activities on December 2nd during his ongoing official visit to Australia.
At a meeting with the governor of Victoria, Linda de Saul, Chairman Huệ spoke highly of the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between the state and Ho Chi Minh City of Vietnam. He said this can be considered as a model of cooperation between localities of the two countries, and the Vietnamese side always supports such cooperation. The governor briefed Huệ about her state's cooperation with Vietnam and Ho Chi Minh City. She also gave good words for the contributions of the Vietnamese community in Victoria. Meeting with Senator Tim Aras, who is Assistant Minister for Trade and Assistant Minister for Manufacturing of Australia, National Assembly Chairman Vương Đình Huệ expressed his delight at the strong development in all aspects in the relations between the two countries. Senator Tim Aras shared his good impression when visiting Vietnam, especially achievements the country had gained in the fields of economics and foreign relations. Huệ asked Aras to further promote the opening of the Australian market for Vietnamese agricultural products and promote cooperation between the two countries in the fields of education and tourism, among others. On the same day, National Assembly Chairman Vương Đình Huệ attended the Australia Education Cooperation Forum in Melbourne. Both Huệ and Senator Tim Aras agreed that training cooperation has always been a pillar and a bright spot in the two countries' relations. Chairman Huệ stressed the need to increase the number of joint training programs between the two countries, speed up the exchange of students and lecturers, and encourage prestigious Australian universities to open branches in Vietnam. With about 30,000 students currently studying in Australia, Vietnam ranks first in terms of the number of students in the country.
The upcoming state visit to the Republic of Korea by Vietnamese President Nguyễn Xuân Phúc would be a big breakthrough in the relationship between the two countries, Minister of the Republic of Korea Park Jin has affirmed. President Phúc and her ranking delegation will pay a state visit to the Republic of Korea from December 4th to 6th at the invitation of Republic of Korea President Yoon Suk-yeol. In an interview granted to the Vietnam News Agency ahead of the visit, Foreign Minister Park said he expects that the two presidents will discuss and agree on new orientations for the bilateral ties on this occasion. The minister stressed that ASEAN has been identified as the most important region in the Republic of Korea's Indo-Pacific strategy, and Vietnam is a very important partner of the East Asian nation. The two-way trade exceeded $80 billion in 2021, up about 160 times as compared with the figure in 1992 when the two countries established diplomatic ties, he said, regarding this as the rare breakthrough in the bilateral relationship. In the context of economic security cooperation to stabilize and restore supply chains playing an increasingly important role, it's time for Vietnam and the Republic of Korea to further boost their economic links, he stressed. It's time for the two countries to come closer together and build a stronger mutually beneficial cooperation and partnership, the Korean top diplomat noted. The disbursement of foreign direct investment in Vietnam went up 15.1% between January and November to some $19.6 billion, the highest 11-month figure over the past 5 years, according to the General Statistics Office.
The processing and manufacturing sector made the lion's share of $15.5 billion, accounting for 78.8% of the total number. The real estate industry recorded $1.44 billion, and electricity, gas, hot water, steam and air conditioner production and distribution, $1.43 billion. Vietnam attracted $25.1 billion in foreign investment in the 11 months, up 0.5% month-on-month but down 5% year-on-year. During the period, new capital registered in the country by foreign investors saw a yearly decline of 18% to $11.5 billion, while their capital contributions and share purchases also declined 7% year-on-year to nearly $4.08 billion. One bright spot in the period was adjusted capital, which surged 23.3% year-on-year to $9.54 billion.
In the first 9 months of this year, Vietnam was the third largest seafood supplier for the U.S. in terms of volume and the fifth largest in value, data from the U.S. National Marine Fisheries Service showed.
Between January to September, Vietnam shipped 244,400 tons to the U.S. market and earned $1.78 billion, up 14% and 33% annually, respectively. Vietnam's share in the U.S. total seafood imports meanwhile increased to 9.6% from 8.4% at the same period last year. Cruelly shrimp is a fishery product that recorded the highest import volume and value in the U.S., with Vietnamese shrimps accounting for nearly 10% of the market share.
Vietnam saw nearly 194,700 newly established and reoperating enterprises in the first 11 months of 2022, up 33.2% over the same period last year, according to the Business Registration Agency under the Ministry of Planning and Investment. In November alone, the country counted 11,943 new enterprises with a total registered capital of some $4.3 billion and 74,000 laborers. Meanwhile, about 6,300 enterprises resumed their operation in the month, up over 26% year-on-year. On the opposite side, there were over 132,000 enterprises withdrawing from the market in the last 11 months. A total of more than 70,000 enterprises temporarily ceased operations, a yearly hike of nearly 35%. The agency said that the total registered capital of enterprises tends to decrease, and the average amount of registered capital of newly established firms is expected not to rise in the remaining months of this year. To support businesses, ministries and sectors were urged to ensure adequate supply of raw materials and energy, and work hard to remove difficulties and obstacles for important industrial projects. Catholic followers nationwide have joined local efforts in socio-economic development and improving cultural lives, contributing to reaching targets in building new-style rural areas.
Cái buổi phát động này đầu tiên của năm nay lễ phát động thực hiện cao điểm của xây dựng nông thôn mới.
The New Star Rural Area Building campaign has received a positive response from Catholic followers in Do Sang Village, Kỳ Khang Commune, Kỳ Anh District, Hà Tĩnh Province.
Though we don't have much money to donate to the campaign, we can contribute our labor to build roads and other public infrastructure.
Mr. Do Van Bach, a resident in Thanh Ba District, Phu Thọ Province, voluntarily donated 100 square meters of his family land to build a rural road. He also encouraged other residents to work together to build the road, helping the village fulfill its new style rural area development target.
Thanks to the wholehearted support of Catholics, Sun Kwong Commune reached its targets in building a new style rural area in 2020.
The active participation of Catholics in the campaign, together with guidance from local authorities, had given Catholic communes a facelift. Catholics have spared no effort to improve their production methods, making contributions to local socio-economic development.
Authorities at all levels have worked closely with Catholic followers and accompanied them in economic development and new-style rural area building programs.
As an inseparable part of Vietnam's solidarity bloc, Catholic followers have contributed greatly to new style rural area building, as well as the national protection and construction course as a whole.